morning. It will likely take a long time before investor confidence is restored.
It's going to take a while now for people to get comfortable going back into the shares of a company where one might argue they seem to have difficulty understanding exactly or predicting where the heck they're headed.
The market plunge was prompted by last Thursday's announcement that Nortel was trimming its profit expectations for this fiscal year. It also announced it was cutting thousands of jobs.
Brett Lindros remains in fair condition in a Toronto hospital today after a serious snowmobile crash early yesterday. The accident happened at a lake near Parry Sound, Ontario. Lindros and a friend were taken to hospital in Toronto, where both are said to be recovering from their injuries. Lindros was a passenger on the snowmobile when they crashed into a tree on the rocky shore of the lake. He is the younger brother of hockey star Eric Lindros. Brett played for the New York Islanders but retired after suffering several concussions. Police say alcohol was a factor in the accident. Well, Dale Earnhardt wore an old-fashioned helmet in the driver's seat of his race car, and it may have cost him his life.
Earnhardt died yesterday in the final lap of the Daytona 500. Most other drivers wear a newer helmet and neck brace, but neither is mandatory. Andrew Colton reports.
The final lap of the Daytona 500. Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, doing what he does best, racing at top speeds in the biggest race of the year. But this time, tragedy. He grazes Sterling Marlin's car, loses control, and at 180 miles per hour slams into the wall.
Big trouble.
Rescuers rushed to cut Earnhardt from the wreckage, but doctors say he died instantly from head injuries.
He was unconscious, unresponsive from the time of the first paramedics' arrival. He was not breathing and had no palpable pulse from the time of the first paramedics' arrival at the scene.
Also racing just ahead, Earnhardt's son, Dale Jr. He spoke for his family hours later from their North Carolina home.
We're all deeply saddened by the loss, and appreciate everybody's thoughts and prayers. We'll get through this. And I'm sure he'd want us to keep going, so that's what we're going to do.
Dale Earnhardt was as recognizable to NASCAR fans as his black Chevy, emblazoned with number 3. Together, man and machine won 76 NASCAR races. He tied with Richard Petty, winning 7 Winston Cups. And 3 years ago, he won the Daytona 500, the race that ultimately claimed his life. Today, flags at the Speedway fly at half-staff.
This is undoubtedly one of the toughest announcements that I've ever personally had to make. But after the accident and turn 4 at the end of the Daytona 500, we've lost Dale Earnhardt.
President Bush telephoned the Earnhardt family last night to express his condolences. Now, NASCAR fans wait word of funeral plans for their fallen hero. Andrew Colton, ABC News, Daytona Beach.
The U.S. Navy has found the wreckage of a Japanese fishing vessel at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. The boat sank after a U.S. submarine collided with it more than a week ago. A deep-sea robot found the wreckage 2,000 feet below the water's surface. The U.S. Navy has now given videotapes of the wreckage to the families of the victims. The families have flown to a Coast Guard station in Hawaii. They have a number of questions for authorities, including who was steering the sub at the time of the collision. The Navy has admitted that civilians were at the controls at the time of the crash.
Down south in Louisiana, the annual Mardi Gras blowout is underway, and everyone, and I mean everyone, is getting involved. The city of Baton Rouge shut down the streets for the Crew of Mutts parade. A few hundred pets and their owners turned out for the festivities. The dogs were judged for their colorful costumes. This is a second annual event in Baton Rouge, and it's not yet quite as big as the real Mardi Gras down in New Orleans.
Well, it's quite a party. Even the dogs get into it.
Looks like they had good weather for it, too. Oh, the legend of Lawrence Welk lives on.
Members of the once popular show are still taking their musical message to thousands of people every year. And coming up on our noon show today, we will talk to Henry Cuesta and Ralna English about the event.
And stepping in for Phil Joy, Marcus Jenny will have a few tips on how to make a great French meal using mussels.
Because if they can't eat chocolate in moderation, then those stimulants could encourage them to overeat.
For those legitimate chocoholics, dietitians suggest quitting cold turkey.
The flip side, of course, is the Harvard study that shows eating chocolate actually adds about a year to your life. So I suppose this piece must be worth about 6 months or so.
But that's not a license to overindulge either. The medical recommendation, when you're finished eating that Valentine's heart, enjoy the memories of the chocolate.
And it will only be memories of chocolate because all the chocolate in our house from Valentine's Day is gone. When's the next holiday? Easter's coming up, right?
I know. I was thinking, I mean, today is supposed to be a holiday. Well, for some people. Yeah. It's just that we're at work.
Here we are. Yeah.
So happy holiday. Maybe I should have brought you some more chocolates, I guess.
That'd be nice.
That would have been nice.
But don't worry about it.
Okay.
Just bring us good weather.
I will do that, at least for the next couple of days, Ian. We've had a nice weekend with seasonal values. -2 where we should be this time of the year. Look at the record on this date, 17.8. Ooh, looks good, hey? And the sunset at supper time. So we're getting more and more daylight hours, and that means obviously that we get more sunshine. The temperature is able to climb up there, and we're very close to spring, just a month away.
That gradual move towards spring then.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much. Also coming up in the show, we'll talk about the Lawrence Welk Show. He is long gone, but the players with the band are in Calgary this week.
If you've been wondering at all. Also this month was our coldest day so far this year, -25 overnight low. Last night we were way better than that. We were only -11. However, we did have the snow to contend with, and we can see now with the Skywatch camera that that snow has tapered off. Still some light pocket of flurries down to the southern part of the province into the Lethbridge, Pincher Creek regions. We're going to see the temperatures continue to rise over the next couple of days. Tomorrow looking at gaining at least 3 degrees compared to our daytime high today, already at -7 in the city. The wind's very light, not much of a factor. They have been a factor with the easterly component. Still, that's the situation in the Lethbridge region, resulting in the odd light flurry there. We're looking at this cloud cover continuing to dissipate and being pushed off to the south as a ridge of high pressure builds in from the northern part of the province. That continues to push down, keeping temperatures fairly cool, but we're looking at a mix of sun and cloud. As this ridge continues to build, we'll see a milder day tomorrow and a mix of sun and cloud, and just some lingering cloud to the southern part of the province. We're talking milder, but it is bone-chilling cold when you head through Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Look at these temperatures, -20 in Regina, -18 in through Winnipeg, up through the northern part of the prairies. The wind chill factor resulting in temperatures around the -40, -50 values. And then we have milder conditions for the east coast with -5 in St. John's. Some light flurry activity in through southern Ontario and southern Quebec. There's a frontal system that is pushing through there, resulting in the light snow. Seasonal values for Windsor, overcast in Toronto. There's the cold, -18 currently in Winnipeg. We have the -20 in Regina, -19 in Saskatoon. These are ice crystals in through Saskatchewan. The light snow still for Pincher Creek. A little bit of sun in the Vancouver region, but then cloudy for Prince George and definitely colder for the northern part of the province. The forecast are showing the cloud cover being pushed off, and any signs of flurry activity will dissipate for us in through this afternoon, and for tomorrow looking at the sunny conditions prevailing. Now when we take a look at what's happening to the north, we see the cold remaining for the high level region. The negative double-digit values there. Gets warmer in through Grand Prairie, warmer more so for the central part of the province, and then Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, you will see the temperatures climb for Lethbridge to -5, Medicine Hat -7, and we're at similar values in through Cranbrook and Calgary with the -3. We could do a little bit better than that depending what happens today. Definitely hitting that -6 today, already being at -7, so we could be slightly warmer, and then that would bump up those values Tuesday, Wednesday. The nice thing is bringing us back to seasonal conditions. And then there's a chance of some light flurries again on Friday with -4. The light flurries started yesterday, and we had about a half a centimeter of snow. We're looking at a similar situation for Friday.
Okay, in the meantime, good holiday weather for those who are actually off today.
Right.
Well, a contest in Washington State sent 50 brave souls hurling down the slopes of Snoqualmie Pass. It was all part of a local radio contest to see who could make it down the slopes using only cardboard and a little imagination. The goal was to reach the bottom of the course with most of your craft intact as fast as possible. The winners of this contest won a ski trip to Wyoming.
It looks like they had a blast, too. Well, if you're still looking for something to make this noon hour for lunch, how about steamed mussels? We'll show you a really easy way to whip them up a little later in the show. But first, here is a look at our daily market numbers.
Here's your manual. Any questions? No? Good luck.
Some things require a little more instruction. At London Drugs, our computer experts and technicians will get you started right and help with any problems along the way.
You get a great deal more at London Drugs.
Without Alberta Blue Cross coverage, a visit to the dentist can be more painful than you imagine. Coughing up for prescription drugs can be a hard pill to swallow. Vision costs can leave you seeing double, and even an ambulance ride can be quite alarming. If you're without employer health benefits, get health coverage for you and your family from Alberta Blue Cross. Affordable health plans to suit your needs. Call 1-800-AB-CROSS and make Alberta Blue Cross part of your healthy future.
Is your lifestyle ruining your health?
Sometimes I think my lifestyle might kill me, literally.
Learn to listen to your body. Next, Oprah.
Today at 4 and later on CFCN News at 6. Renovations are good for your home, but they can be bad for your health.
The heat ducts have asbestos on it.
Consumer Watch reporter Kevin Rich shows you the hazards of home renovating and tells you how to protect your family's health. We're your renovation resource, tonight at 6 on CFCN News.
If a sports car could teach another car, what would the lesson be?
Zoom, zoom.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Zoom, zoom, zoom. But his music is still around in the 21st. He began performing in the 1920s, started his television show in the 50s, taped it up until 1984, and died in 1992. But the stars of the Lawrence Welk Show are keeping those champagne bubbles afloat many years later.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings and welcome to a program of hit songs from Broadway musical shows.
The only thing missing from the live Lawrence Welk Show is, well, Lawrence Welk. Many of the musicians who performed with Welk have taken to the stage at the Welk Champagne Theater in Branson, Missouri. And now a 3-week tour of Canada and the U.S. is stopping off in Calgary this Friday night, also in Medicine Hat this week as well. Joining us are clarinet player Henry Cuesta and singer Ralna English. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Ian. We're glad to be here.
You know, this show, it went off the air, as I said, in 1984, but it's still around in reruns.
We are the number one syndicated show on public broadcasting.
It's incredible.
We have been for 13 years, so we're very happy about that.
So why the enduring appeal?
I think it's a family show. It's a pretty show. It's visually colorful and entertaining, and children love it. And so we have generation after generation that continue watching our show. They love the movement and the dancing and the singing. You don't see that on television, do you?
Not really. Well, you don't see the good old variety shows.
You don't see variety shows, no. They say they're too expensive to produce now. And so they would rather go with a sitcom or something like that. So you just don't get the music and the fun times that we had, the camaraderie and all that. It was really a wonderful time for all of us.
Now, Henry, I take it you have a very loyal following with this show.
You know, I'm calling this tour the second coming of Lawrence Welk. The vibrancy. No, you know what? I said that by accident about 3, 4, 5 days ago, and I broke up the people I was talking to. And it's true. The vibrancy of the audience is incredible when we go out to do autographing, you know, and all of that. It's almost as if the man was there looking over our show. And it's incredible, you know, and it's true. The show is really well paced. It moves, a lot of energy in there, and I'm having a great time on this tour.
What was Lawrence Welk like to work for?
Wonderful.
He was a disciplinarian. He was a practical joker.
Okay.
He loved to tease us, and he knew exactly what he wanted, and I was happy to give it to him.
The first thing you said, though, was a disciplinarian, though.
Well, sure, he was.
You had to get the job right 100%.
Well, the way he wanted it, and if you knew that, and you got along with him very well, and I got along with him very well. So I loved him dearly. He was wonderful to me, and I had a lot of respect for him, and I still do. In fact, I've had more respect for him as time has gone on, amazingly enough.
You have to admit that this show has an old-fashioned appeal to it, and it even had an old-fashioned appeal, say, in the 70s, too.
Sure.
Who is your audience? Who are the folks coming to the show?
Middle America, your middle Canadians here.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how you would say it, but that's who watches our show. Families. You got family day today. It's families that watch our show. They
of
watch
all ages, though.
Of all ages, they sit and watch it together. Grandma, the daughter, and the granddaughters and grandsons will sit and watch it together on a Saturday night and have their it's a little ritual.
And it's still around on Saturday nights, too.
A lot of young people coming out, too. A lot of young people.
Yeah, we have. You'd be surprised at the young people that we have.
Now, Henry, I know both of you folks are from Texas initially, but Henry, you have a Canadian connection, right?
Well, let me tell you, the Army drafted me. I never returned to Texas. I met this lovely girl on my first trip to Canada in Toronto, and Rhonda knows how lovely she is. We've been married 40 years, and everybody, you know, she's of Scottish background, and she makes those tarts and those Scottish shortbread like you cannot imagine. But anyway, all our children born in Toronto, so I have a real connection with your great country here.
Wow.
It's a joy to be in your country.
I'm glad to hear it. Listen, speaking of another cultural note, Mardi Gras is beginning down in New Orleans. We had a little picture earlier in the news of, you know, some Mardi Gras thing in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, involving dogs. We won't talk about that, but you have a, musical thing going on.
I feel a musical cue coming, okay?
Wonderful. And of course, you'll match that at the show.
Yes, I will.
When Rhonda, she is one of the greatest singers I've ever heard, and I've been around with the big bands, you know. When Rhonda comes out to sing, look out, a showstopper.
I hear you've got a great range.
Who told you that?
It came in the...
I do have a pretty good range. It's because I'm a belter, see, and I can belt. I can belt high, and that's why people think I have such a I don't have a range like a Mariah Carey or anything.
Right.
But I'm a belter, so I can belt notes that other singers might not be able to belt.
Well, who would want to be a Mariah Carey anyway?
Well,
when you're associated with the Lawrence Welk Show.
She's wonderful. She's a wonderful singer. But yeah, I have a lot of fun. And we have Mary Lou Metzger on the show. She's our Broadway babe. And Ava Barber is our country singer.
Yep.
And then we have Jack Emmel. He was assistant director of our television show for many years. And he plays marimba and tap dances. And we have the Lawrence Welk Orchestra under the direction of John Baylor. Janet Lennon, one of the Lennon sisters' husbands.
Right, okay.
And so we have a nice show. And we have Tim Padilla, who is a young Lawrence Welk. He plays accordion, and he's just adorable. He does dizzy fingers. And then we have a Russian adagio dance team. I'm saying that wrong. It's not adagio. But anyway, a Russian dance team, and they're wonderful. Pasha and Ilona.
Very nice.
Wait till you hear Jack and I do a tribute to Benny Goodman. You have never heard Sing, Sing, Sing the way
No,
we do
you
it on the
haven't.
show.
Okay.
Are you
No,
coming
you
to the show?
Okay, well, if you're inviting me, sure.
Yeah,
Well, we
of
want
course.
you to
We
come
want
in.
to.
Everybody.
And meet that lovely lady with you, too, there.
Okay, Carrie will come, too.
Let me tell you one thing. It is a great show. It moves. A lot of
Okay,
energy.
a little bit of everything there. Thanks for coming in this afternoon.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank
we
you so
enjoyed
much.
it.
And
Thanks for having us.
the live Lawrence Welk Show is on this Friday night at 7. There is also a matinee performance Friday afternoon at 2 at the Jack Singer Concert Hall. You can call Ticketmaster for tickets.
Well, Brad Pitt will make an appearance on the hit sitcom Friends. We'll have more on that story in our entertainment news. But first, here are some websites you can check out the next time you're online.
If you have 1 to 4 hours a week to just hang out and have fun, then Big Sisters and Big Brothers need you. Volunteers are needed to help provide friendship and support to kids in our community. Call 777-3530 for more details. And the Boys and Girls Club of Calgary is looking for volunteers on Monday evenings to do childcare for several toddlers while mothers attend on-site classes.
In Touch was brought to you by Sylvan Learning Center.
And in between campaign stops, he handed out a few of the Great Kids Awards. The awards were presented at the Calgary Zoo this morning. 16 children from all over Alberta were honored for their kindness and unselfish services to others. Many of the recipients have faced overwhelming personal and family challenges. This is the second year these awards have been handed out. Shelley McCrugan is live at the Calgary Zoo, and she joins us now. Shelley, Klein spoke to reporters after the awards were handed out. What did he have to say about the Parkland Institute report referring to the Alberta advantage and the fact that not many of us are getting ahead under the Klein regime?
Well, that's what the Institute says in this report they're releasing today, that really it's the wealthy Albertans that are getting the Alberta advantage, that Midland low-income families are not really benefiting much from that. But he did take exception to that. He reeled off a whole bunch of facts and numbers saying that, you know what, we are actually better off than we were 5-10 years ago. We're better off than families in BC, than families in other provinces. And he says that, you know what, he can back it up with the numbers, and he's not very happy with that report. He also questions the timing of the release, obviously during an election campaign, but he's not very happy with the report.
And there's also some controversy over a Liberal campaign billboard here in Calgary. What's that all about?
Yes, Nancy Macbeth unveiled a billboard yesterday, as a matter of fact, in the Deep South on Macleod Trail. And anyone who goes by it, and the Premier even said he thought it was one of their signs. It does have what are traditionally been the Tory colors. It looks very similar to Ralph Klein's billboard, and there has been some criticism that it does look so similar, and it says progressive Liberals on it, using progressive as well. And even Premier Klein said when he drove by it, he thought it was one of theirs. So there's a little bit of controversy about that as well.
Okay, thanks, Shelley. Shelley McCrugan reporting from the Calgary Zoo.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders could see their logo riding off into the sunset. The Ford Motor Company wants to register the Running Horse trademark, their Mustang car logo, for use on merchandise. Now, the loss of the logo would result in millions of dollars in lost revenue for the Stampeders. As well, it will cost the team thousands of dollars to design a new logo. The matter is now in the hands of lawyers, and it will probably take months to solve. Turning now to entertainment news, James Bond movies are known for the storyline, the special gadgets, and of course all the beautiful women. This weekend, a bikini worn by one of the Bond girls was sold for thousands of dollars. Also today, actress Emma Thompson is taking a break from Hollywood, and Brad Pitt is stepping out with one of his wife's friends. Here's Carla Wall with the details.
Sexiest lady.
Brad Pitt will be cheating on his wife, Jennifer Aniston, but he has her approval. Pitt will be appearing on the sitcom Friends, where his character will become involved with Phoebe, played by Lisa Kudrow.
I suppose you just don't expect such a thing to happen.
Emma Thompson, who won an Oscar for her role in Sense and Sensibility, says she is taking a break from acting to focus more on screenwriting, which she says will allow her to spend more time with her 14-month-old daughter. Thompson says she's already working on a biography and a children's film. Miramax Films is apparently looking for laughs and inspiration online. The studio is signing a deal with The Onion and will develop scripts and possible feature films inspired by the satirical website's articles. Bidding was fast and furious for this Bond girl's bikini, worn by Ursula Andress in Dr. No. This little getup fetched more than $61,000 at auction. By the way, Andress has attributed her success to the bikini. That's what's happening in Hollywood. Carla Wohl, ABC News.
Must have been that belt on the bikini that made it go for
somebody. Oh yeah, that would really boost up the price.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk some French cuisine after the break. Marcus Jenny will give us a demonstration. At lunch, mayonnaise, hollandaise sauce, soufflé, steak tartare. The list of French influences in Canadian cuisine goes on and on. Marcus Jenny, the executive chef at the Silver Springs Golf and Country Club, is filling in for Phil Joy once again, and he's taking a look with us at French food. Thanks for coming in this afternoon.
Oh, it's a great pleasure.
And when we say French, we're not referring to French Canadian. We're not talking about tourtière from Chicoutimi. We're talking about stuff from Paris, right?
Classical, traditional French cuisine, which is a lot of time bistro cuisine, very easy cuisine, very simple to cook. I think we're mistaken French cuisine many times with the high class,
which
is also there, gourmet night. Yeah. But if you go to a French bistro, you eat very simple country cuisine.
Okay, and in that vein, we're doing mussels.
Mussels will be one of them.
And any of us can do this, right?
Absolutely, and this is the classical recipe, moule marinière. It's called marinated mussels, basically steamed mussels. Start off with some butter. That's always in French cuisine, lots of butter. And there's no substitute.
Well, there's the French paradox. They do have a lot of creams and butters and things like that.
Then
and apparently you have to have red wine, too.
Or white.
Or white.
As long as it's wine.
Yeah.
And the key ingredient is garlic.
And how many cloves, sir?
There's about 2 cloves there.
Okay. And I can
2
smell it already.
Cloves. Oh, yes. Saute that until the onions become transparent.
Okay.
And we fast forward a little bit. We add the parsley. And the mussels. And the mussels should be cleaned first. Sometimes they have a little beard on them, like here, and we just pull that out.
Oh, okay then.
But make sure you wash them first and remove all the beards on them. And the mussels that won't open, discard them at the end. Or mussels that are already open and won't close when you push them a little bit.
Right. And there's a secret. You get them closed, and just the heat causes them to open up like that?
They'll open up, yeah. Okay, after you've done that, the more important ingredient is the wine. Carefully measured. The recipe is in the paper. So
okay, and that's an Australian wine, so you're not too picky, right?
I'm not too picky.
Okay.
No.
All right.
There's a myth, too, that you should always cook with the wine that you drink with a meal. That is not quite true.
Right, right.
And then you should bring it on full heat and cover them up. So the steam will help advance the process. You don't want to cook them too long. Once they're overcooked, they become rubbery and dry.
Yep.
And they should be just cooked. It should be about 5 minutes in total.
About 5 minutes, and that's it?
That's about it, yeah.
Really?
And then we're going to have to fast forward again because of time restraints, I guess.
Okay, so let's say our 5 minutes are up. All those mussels should have popped open, right?
Popped open, yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then we remove them. Put them in our serving plate.
And this is primarily an appetizer, right?
It is an appetizer. If you go to France, quite often you find people eating mussels as a main course. With a lot of French bread and a lot of wine. And this, again, is a traditional method. You can add anything you want. You can add ginger to it. You can add chili peppers to it to adjust the flavor that you would like.
Also, you have a baguette chopped up here. And,
yes.
And that's the thing. You have to have them together, right?
Absolutely. And then we add the cream. And we just let this reduce to about half the quantity until it thickens up slightly.
Okay.
You pour it over the mussels and you serve it.
Oh, that sounds marvelous.
And that's where the French bread comes in. The mussels, you eat them. And actually, a quick hint. Once you have eaten the first one, you use this as your claw.
Oh, I see.
And you just pull them out like this.
Very handy.
Like this. And
there you go. Well, let me have a try of that.
Absolutely. And the French bread is to dunk in the liquid.
I can use the fork.
Absolutely.
That's allowable, okay. Very nice. And are those Canadian mussels?
PEI.
PEI mussels.
Absolutely.
Done the French way. Very nice. Thanks for coming in this afternoon.
It was my pleasure.
Good to have you here. And we should mention that the recipe for this dish is in today's Calgary Sun. Also, we have to do a draw before we go. And I think this is for this package right here off the top. Don't want to knock it off, though. Our weekly draw, and it goes out to Patty Keir from Whitefield Drive Northeast here in Calgary. We'll get in touch with that person and make sure this prize package gets out to you. Okay, thanks for coming in this afternoon.
Thank you. A pleasure.
Well, Best Costume is not one of the most memorable awards given out at the Oscars, but that hasn't stopped thousands of people from checking out the nominees. We'll have more on that in just a couple of minutes. But first, here's today's volunteer board.
A Jack